Van Pepper here with a review on the Mauser 2447. One of the things I will tell you up front about the 2447, if you do go looking for one, is you really need to pay close attention to the safety and make sure the safety works. A lot of these things, for some reason, one reason or another, I know people who have picked them up without properly checking the safety, and they've gotten a safety that doesn't work. The safety works in three positions. This is the safety. The first position is the non-safety position at all. It's when it's down over here, and you can slide the bolt forward and have a trigger pull. The next position, we slide the bolt forward and we pull this straight up in the air. This is kind of a middle ground safety. The bolt is free to move, but when you depress the trigger, it doesn't cause the firing pin to go forward. And the third position if I can get it there, is all the way over to the right, and this doesn't allow the bolt to move up or down, and it doesn't allow the trigger pull doesn't engage the firing pin. You want to make sure that when you get or when you're looking at a Mauser 2447 that you pay close attention to that. I shoot surplus ammo out of mine. These rounds with the copper colored tips or bronze colored tips are Iranian surplus ammunition, and these rounds with the silver tips are Persian or Turkish, I can't remember which. These tend to be much better rounds in terms of the number of hang fires you have. The Iranian ones, as you guys, anybody who watched my video on shooting the Mauser 2447 would notice, you get a fair percentage of hang fires on these. And a hang fire, for anybody who doesn't know, I'm sure you all do, but in case you don't, it's a delay between when the trigger is pulled and the firing pin goes forward, that part, and when the propellant ignites and sends the bullet out of the barrel. So you'll pull the trigger, the firing pin will pop, and then there'll be a slight delay before the propellants ignite. So that's just something that hasn't been a big deal for me. Honestly, I think I probably put about 100 rounds through this rifle, and before the video of me shooting where I had 2 hang fires, I think I'd only had 2 hang fires in the 100 rounds. So 4 in 100 rounds is not horrible for the price of the ammunition if you're just shooting for fun. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in a war situation have that many hang fires, because you'd be in trouble. But it's really, this, like most surplus guns, is it's very well made. It's pretty easy to disassemble and reassemble. You can find all kinds of videos on YouTube on how to properly maintain these things, how to do the various disassemblies and assemblies. This has been a really good shooter for me. It's pretty accurate. If you see my video on the results of my range day last week at 50 yards, this wasn't a bad shooter at all. I had trouble at 100 yards and 75 yards, but that's because the iron sights, the way the rear sight kind of sits, it's a little tough to pick up the front sight sometimes if you have bad eyes. If you have good eyes, you're not going to have any problems with these things. These are very well made rifles. This particular one, I believe, is a Chilean Mauser, but there are just so many different varieties of Mausers. Besides the 2447, there's I believe M48s and M96s, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the only one I own, so there are some really neat markings which you probably won't be able to pick up on my terrible video skills. But as all surplus rifles, they just have a lot of character. The front sights go up just like any. They're adjustable, or excuse me, the rear sights are adjustable just like most of your military surplus rifles, so you can adjust for range. It's got the covered front sight, which reduces glare. The Russians on the original Mosin Nagant rifles the original batch that they made, did not have the covered front sights, and what they had on the field of battle was they were having a lot of problem with glare. So these are very good rifles. I've had a lot of fun with this particular rifle. I picked it up for a little under $200 at my local gun shop. If you get a chance, folks, support your local gun shops. Unless they're price gougers, then don't support them at all. But if you can, support your local gun shops, because these are the guys who they're local in your community. They usually have a pretty nifty selection, a pretty good selection of different surplus rifles, and a lot of new stuff too. And I always tell people, if you get a chance, support them. I mean, I'm not telling you to take a huge price hike just to go there, but if you get a chance, go there. I mean, they've usually got good deals on some used rifles. This particular rifle, it shoots well, it cycles ammunition well. I haven't had any problems with anything other than hang fires. I haven't had any misfires or squib rounds, but just a lot of good time shooting this, and the bolt is pretty smooth on this. It doesn't look smooth one-handed sometimes, but trust me, it is pretty smooth to operate. Most of your surplus rifles are going to have fairly smooth bolts, and if they don't, there's usually a pretty easy fix for that. I hope you enjoyed this review of the Mauser 2447, and if you have any questions, let me know, and let me know about your experiences with your Mausers or any other surplus rifles. Until then, I'm Van Prepper. Happy shooting.